Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got a video today from Alexander Grace.
I had a bitch tell me this weekend, like, aren't you a little old to be going through your party phase? No, bitch, I was a fucking loser in high school. I was fat and weird. But then I got hot, tall, skinny, and giant fake old titties. And now I want a motherfucking party. Shut up.
Hello and welcome to How to Speak
Translation.
Womanese, Giant Fake Old Tiddies edition. Today, this woman is going to be your teacher. She's of the Womanese culture and she speaks fluent Womanese. I'm going to act as your translator and explain what she means in English. Now remember, the Womanese language often uses the same words as English, but they can have a completely different meaning. Take the word bitch, for example, which you just heard in this video. In English, the word bitch means a nasty person who wishes you harm, but
Female dog.
in Womanese, it can refer to somebody who can see that you're making clearly self-destructive lifestyle choices and then asks you about it. In the Womanese language, anybody who responds to your seemingly desperate cry for help is a bitch. There are also important cultural differences between Womanese and English-speaking Western cultures. For example, in our culture, when somebody was unhappy in high school, we celebrate when they rise above the superficiality and popularity games that define that period and become somebody of real depth and character. In Womanese culture, that's frowned upon. In fact, any sincere improvement to your
Well, right, yeah. If you develop your mind in any way, you're a pick-me.
personality is a big no-no. In Womanese culture, they celebrate when somebody holds on to the values of high school throughout adulthood, focusing on superficial appearances, partying lifestyle. That's all really positive. And there is special praise reserved for people who get plastic surgery and swear angrily at people who ask them questions. When having a conversation with somebody who speaks Womanese, you have to be aware that the very act of asking about the merits of her choices is highly offensive. Even if it's obvious that they're self-destructing and making terrible choices, asking them about it is completely inappropriate.
So if you care and worry about their well-being and ask, you're the problem.
Indicates that you don't give them 100% support for all of their choices, which in Womanese culture is completely forbidden. They expect total compliance all the time.
I went on a date with a guy the other night, and I was like, so if you had to describe yourself, like, what would you say? And he goes, one word, alpha. And I went, 2 words, domestic abuser. And he got pissed. But I'll tell you what, it was worth it. It was worth it.
One of the benefits of the Womanese language is that it gives absolute power to the woman speaking the language to define the meaning of words. It really helps to reduce any confusion or ambiguity. It makes things clear. For example, the man in this video described himself as an alpha, which as an English word is incredibly vague. It could mean all number of things. It's subject to interpretation. He could have even been joking. That ambiguity is incredibly frustrating because who knows what it is that he meant. Now, in English, you could ask him, hey, what did you mean by alpha? But in Womanese, there's no need to even ask. It's so much more simple than that. However the woman chooses to define the word, that's its meaning, and that's it. Now, I know that men from Western...
I wish words work like that. All I have to do is just say whatever word it is, and you should just know what I'm talking about or the conversation in the context of the words I'm saying, just because you have to read my mind.
English-speaking cultures might bristle a bit when they hear a woman calling a man a domestic abuser the first time that she's met him with absolutely no evidence to support that claim. And they might also think that it's in poor taste to joke about it, because in Western cultures, we have huge concern for the victims of domestic abuse. We worry about the psychological impact done to men and women who live through those experiences. And we're also highly cognizant of the damage done to the reputation of men who are innocent but are unfairly and unjustly accused.
That we do.
We don't want innocent men to unjustly have to carry the stigma of being an abuser by careless accusations. But those concerns are unique to our culture. The Womanese culture is far more progressive in that they have progressed far beyond caring about what men feel. In Womanese culture, only women count. Men are considered subhuman, so it's absolutely fine to accuse them of whatever you want, regardless of its impact. And for those of you watching who think that it might have been rude of her to make that comment, to ruin the night, you have to understand that
you're part of the problem.
That in the Womanese culture, a date is not considered a success if both people have a mutually enjoyable time. A date is considered successful when a woman manages to humiliate a man. That's why she said that it was worth it, because from her perspective...
This is exactly why men stop dating, because he's right. Women humiliating men in dates is now a big flaunt for a lot of women. They get to go home, post up the video and talk about how much of a narcissist and dick he was, misogyny. They love it. They love dogging men on the internet, especially men that don't even know they're getting dogged.
Perspective, the date was amazing. When a woman has fun at a man's expense, that's what makes a date 5 stars, with additional points being awarded for how much of his time she managed to waste.
Honestly, dump your boyfriends. Just fucking dump your shitty boyfriend. Here's why.
Now, I can understand that this might be confusing for some people, but you have to understand that in Womanese culture, because men are always trash and women are perfect, there's no real need to look into the individual circumstances of a relationship before advising women to dump their boyfriends, because men are always considered toxic and disgusting, and it's always a good idea for a woman to get rid of him. Comments like this are actually very important because there's always the danger that a woman might start feeling empathy for men, and so she needs constant reminders of how terrible he is.
So, 2 nights ago, I got stood up on a date. I was like, fuck that, I'm still going to Zoo. I had Zoo tickets. So I went to Zoo, great concert. I go to the bar after. I end up meeting the drummer for Zoo. Well, this dude and I end up hitting it off. He gives me free tickets for last night's concert, and then he gives me backstage passes. After the concert, I end up fucking partying with Zoo and him. Like, just roping shots, partying.
So you're a groupie. Got it.
I know. Here I am. Don't worry, I didn't fuck. I just passed out his fucking hotel room.
I just need to quickly pause it here and remind everybody that it is culturally extremely inappropriate to doubt the accuracy of her story. If she says that she didn't sleep with him, then you have to believe her. Of course,
she slept with him.
It's safe in our culture to assume that any woman who meets a musician, accepts tickets to a concert, goes backstage, gets really drunk with him, goes back to his hotel room so drunk that she passes out, obviously slept with him, and any denial is just to avoid embarrassment. But none of those assumptions are valid in Womanese culture. There is absolutely no reason to assume that any of her
Remember, when you assume, you make an ass out of me and you.
behavior led to sex. You have to understand that when rock bands go on tour through Womanese cultures, it's very common for them to give women backstage passes, to get drunk with them, to invite them back to their hotel room.
So they can
but
cuddle.
it is never for the purpose of sex. It's usually to talk about the quality of the linen on the bed or to compare thread count, something like that. But to suggest that anything sexual took place is completely inappropriate. And there's absolutely no reason to suspect her of lying because in Womanese culture, there is no stigma attached for being promiscuous and engaging in casual sex. That's empowering for her. And so she has no reason to lie.
If I was still with that shitty ex, he would have never let me do this.
Quick pause just to let you know that the phrase shitty ex has a different meaning in Womanese. In English, the term shitty ex would refer to a man who never cared about your well-being, didn't want to keep you safe or protected. In Womanese, the term shitty ex refers to a man who is concerned about your safety and would be worried if you got so drunk with a man that you just met that you passed out in his hotel room. Shitty ex can also refer to a man who is concerned about his girlfriend spending the night in the bed of another man.
Insecure.
Of course, in our culture, with our conventions of monogamy and fidelity, that would seem completely reasonable. But in Womanese culture, it's just proof of how toxic and controlling you are.
And now I have backstage passes and tickets to tonight's show, and I'm going to their after party. Like, life is fun when you're fucking single. I'm telling you, dump him.
It's fun when you get ran through. My translation.
Dump his ass.
That video was actually a really good demonstration of certain Womanese cultural customs, like flicking your hair back and forth as many times as possible, which to this day, anthropologists still haven't figured out why women do this. It also shows how someone who is Womanese will take great effort to put on thick layers of makeup first thing in the morning, even if they haven't yet made their bed, because they need to film a video for social media and they want it to have that just woke up vibe. It's just one of those quirky little customs of Womanese culture. Like, if you want to be...
Like, you guys are never going to catch me in the just wake up vibe. Maybe like on a short or something on Instagram, but never on a video like this. I'm always going to be showered, prepared, smelling good, even though you guys can't smell. I wish there was some smell-o-vision or something. You can smell me too.
Perceived as being casual and carefree, like you don't really care what other people think. It actually takes a lot of time and effort, and you need to really consider what other people think. So that's the lesson. Now, if you feel like you still don't have a good grasp of the Womanese language, like what she was saying still made no sense to you? Well, you just need more lessons. So I would encourage you to subscribe to this channel so you can be kept up to date when the next educational module comes out.
Again, shout outs to Alex for translating that for us. You know, him and Destro, Lord Destro. Translation. Womanese. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.